Ho Chi Minh was born on May 19, 1890 in a village in central Vietnam, then part of French Indochina, in Ny Province, to Hoa Tai Loan and his mother, and Nguyen Sin Sa. Ho attended the National Academy in Hue before being expelled for protesting against Emperor Bao Dai and French influence in Indochina. In 1911, he found work as a cook on a French steamer and spent the next several years at sea, traveling to Africa, the United States, and Britain, amongst other locations. By 1919, he was living in France, where he organized a group of Vietnamese immigrants and petitioned delegates at the Versailles Peace Conference to demand that the French colonial government in Indochina grant the same rights to its subjects as it did to its rulers. Inspired by the success of Vladimir Lenin's Bolshevik Revolution, he joined the new French Communist Party in 1920 and traveled to Moscow 3 years later. He soon began recruiting members of a Vietnamese nationalist movement that would form the basis of the Indochinese Communist Party, founded in Hong Kong in 1930, and traveled the world, including Brussels, Paris, and Siam, now Thailand, where he worked as a representative of the Communist International Organization. When Germany defeated France in 1940 during World War II, Ho saw it as an opportunity for the Vietnamese nationalist cause. Around this time, he began to use the name Ho Chi Minh, roughly translated as Bringer of Light. With his lieutenants Vo Nguyen Giap and Pham Von Dong, Ho returned to Vietnam in January 1941 and organized Viet Minh, or League for the Independence of Vietnam. With the Allied victory in 1945, Japanese forces withdrew from Vietnam, leaving the French-educated Emperor Bao Dai in control of an independent Vietnam. Led by Vo Nguyen Giap, Viet Minh forces seized the northern city of Hanoi and declared a democratic state of Vietnam, known commonly as North Vietnam or the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, with Ho as president. Bao Dai abdicated in favor of the revolution, but French military troops gained control of the southern Vietnam, including Saigon. Ho began negotiations with the French in efforts to achieve a Chinese withdrawal as well as an eventual French recognition of Vietnam's independence and reunification of North and South Vietnam. But in October 1946, a French cruiser opened fire on the town of Haiphong after a clash between French and Vietnamese soldiers. Despite Ho's best efforts to maintain peace, his more militant followers called for war, which broke out that December. During the First Indochina War, the French returned Bao Dai to power and set up for the state of Vietnam, South Vietnam, in July 1949, with Saigon as its capital. Armed conflict between the two states continued until a decisive battle at Bien Bien Phu ended in French defeat by Viet Minh forces. The subsequent treaty at negotiations at Geneva, at which Ho was represented by his associate Pham Von Dong, partitioned Indochina and called for elections for reunification in 1956. Backed by the United States, the strongly anti-communist South Vietnamese government of Ngo Dinh Diem refused to support the Geneva Accords and put off elections indefinitely. In 1959, armed conflict broke out again as communist guerrillas known as Viet Cong began launching attacks on targets including U.S. military installations in South Vietnam. The Viet Cong appealed to North Vietnam for help, and that July the Central Committee of Ho Long Dong's Workers' Party voted to link the establishment of socialism in the North to cause of unification with the South. At the same meeting, Ho ceded his position as Party Secretary General to Lê Duan. He would remain nominally as North Vietnam's head of state during the Vietnam War, but would take a more behind-the-scenes role. To his people, Uncle Ho also remained as an important symbol of Vietnam's unification. The U.S. continued to increase its support of South Vietnam, sending economic aid and, beginning in December 1961, military troops. American airstrikes against North Vietnam began in 1965, and in July 1966, Ho sent a message to the country's people that nothing is as dear to the heart of the Vietnamese as independence and liberation. This became the motto of the North Vietnamese cause. On the heel of North Vietnamese Tet's events in early 1968, U.S. President Lyndon Johnson made the decision to halt the escalation of the war and called for peace talks to begin. The conflict was still ongoing by December 2nd, 1969, when Ho Chi Minh died at Hanoi at the age of 79. And then, the last U.S. troops left Vietnam in March 1973.